You think they're heart healthy, but these two popular nuts are secretly inflaming your joints every single day. Yes, you heard that right. Many seniors I meet tell me they snack on peanuts or cashews because they're healthy. They've heard these nuts are good for the heart, packed with plant protein and healthy fats. But what if I told you, after age 60, those same healthy nuts could be quietly making your joints stiffer, your knees more swollen, and your memory foggier? You're not doing anything wrong. You were just never told the full story. Let's step back and talk about what really happens inside the body after 60. Our metabolism slows down, our immune system becomes more sensitive, and we recover from inflammation more slowly. That's why what we eat matters more than ever. The right food can protect your joints, your memory, and your independence. But the wrong food, even if it seems healthy, can quietly wear your body down. And that brings us to nuts. Yes, nuts, those crunchy little snacks often praised by doctors and dietitians. And many of them are excellent. Almonds, walnuts, pistachios, Brazil nuts, all have unique benefits for brain health, bones, and circulation. But hidden among the good ones are two common choices that may be doing the exact opposite, especially for seniors. The first one, peanuts. Now, peanuts aren't even technically nuts, they're legumes. But more importantly, they're one of the most common sources of aflatoxins, a natural toxin created by mold that grows during storage. For healthy young adults, the liver can often clear aflatoxins without too much trouble. But as we age, our liver becomes less efficient, and these toxins can slowly accumulate, affecting the brain, liver, and kidneys, and yes, even causing chronic inflammation in your joints. Many seniors who eat peanut butter daily don't realize that their knee stiffness or morning joint pain could be linked to something they ate, not just age. But it doesn't stop there. Peanuts are also extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. While omega-6 is an essential fat, too much of it, especially when omega-3s are low, creates an imbalance that promotes inflammation. And in older adults, this kind of low-grade daily inflammation is what drives so many chronic issues. Arthritis flares, leg swelling, and even brain fog. Imagine trying to manage arthritis with medication, but your food is quietly working against you. That's what happens with high omega-6 foods like peanuts. So while peanuts may be cheap, convenient, and familiar, they're not the best snack for aging joints. And unfortunately, they're not the only ones. Now let's talk about the second nut that raises concerns. One that most people never suspect, cashews. They're creamy, they're buttery, and they've got this gentle, slightly sweet taste that makes them feel more like a treat than a health food. You'll find them in fancy nut mixes, healthy snack packs, and even ground up into vegan cheese and sauces. But for people over 50, especially those watching their blood sugar, joint pain, or kidney function, cashews may not be the guilt-free snack you've been led to believe. Let's start with blood sugar. Many seniors I work with are managing prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, even if they don't realize it yet. And here's the problem. Cashews are one of the highest carb nuts out there. While almonds or pecans have very little natural sugar, cashews pack nearly 9 grams of carbohydrates per ounce. That may not sound like much, but when you combine that with the way most people eat them, by the handful, it adds up fast. Unlike most other nuts that help stabilize blood sugar, cashews can actually cause small but frequent glucose spikes. These sugar spikes often go unnoticed. There's no rush of energy, no crash, but over time, they wear down your insulin sensitivity. And for seniors, that translates into more fatigue, slower healing, and increased inflammation, especially in the legs and joints. But there's another reason I warn many of my older patients about cashews. Their oxalate content. Oxalates are natural compounds found in many plant-based foods, and in small amounts, they're usually harmless. But cashews are particularly high in oxalates, which bind to calcium in your body. Over time, this can increase the risk of kidney stones, something that becomes more common and more dangerous as we age. If you've ever felt pain in your lower back or side and didn't know why, or if you're already managing reduced kidney function, high oxalate foods like cashews could be making things worse. And like peanuts, cashews are also high in omega-6 fatty acids. Remember what we said earlier? When omega-6s outnumber omega-3s, inflammation rises. That may mean more stiffness in your knees, more swelling in your hands, or even worsening arthritis symptoms. It's not that cashews are evil, but for older adults, especially those already dealing with chronic inflammation or blood sugar challenges, they're far from the safe snack they appear to be. And here's one more thing to consider. Cashews are often roasted in vegetable oils, which adds even more omega-6 fats and, in some cases, trans fats. These industrial seed oils, like sunflower, safflower, or soybean oil, are known to promote inflammation and oxidative stress, making joint pain and fatigue worse. The worst part? Most packaging doesn't even clearly state how they were roasted or what oils were used. So even a plain-looking bag of roasted cashews could be hiding ingredients that slowly harm your joints and blood vessels. So if you've been snacking on cashews thinking they're doing your body a favor, especially if you're over 60, it might be time to rethink. Fortunately, there are much better options. So now that we've talked about the two nuts to watch out for, peanuts and cashews, let's turn our attention to the good news. Some nuts are not only safe but incredibly healing, especially for people over 60. These are the kinds of foods that work with your body, not against it. They support your joints, your memory, your heart, and even your immune system. The first nut I always recommend to my senior patients is the walnut. In many ways, it's the anti-peanut. While peanuts are high in omega-6s, walnuts are one of the few nuts that are actually rich in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-based form of omega-3 that helps calm inflammation. That means walnuts can actively reduce the stiffness in your knees, soothe sore joints, and even help your brain stay sharp. In fact, several studies have linked walnut consumption to better cognitive function in older adults. A handful a day. That's all it takes. Next up are almonds. These are often overlooked, but they're quietly powerful. Almonds are low in carbs, high in fiber, and loaded with vitamin E, an antioxidant that protects your cells, including the delicate tissues in your joints. They also contain magnesium, which plays a crucial role in nerve and muscle function. As we age, magnesium deficiency becomes more common, and it's one of the hidden causes of muscle cramps, fatigue, and even restless legs at night. Almonds help replenish that, naturally. And because they're low in omega-6s compared to peanuts or cashews, they're far less likely to aggravate chronic inflammation. The third superstar is the Brazil nut. Now, I only recommend 1 to 2 of these per day because they're extremely rich in selenium, a powerful mineral that helps regulate the immune system and reduce oxidative stress. Why does that matter? Because oxidative stress is like rust inside the body. It breaks down your tissues, including cartilage and bone, faster than they can repair. Just a few Brazil nuts a week can give you all the selenium you need to protect your joints, support thyroid health, and keep inflammation under control. You might be wondering, what about pistachios, hazelnuts, or macadamias? These are all fine in moderation. But when it comes to seniors specifically looking to reduce inflammation, improve mobility, and protect cognitive health, walnuts, almonds, and Brazil nuts consistently come out on top. And one more thing, raw or dry roasted is best. Avoid nuts that are roasted in vegetable oils or covered in salt, sugar, or chocolate. Those extra ingredients can undo many of the benefits we've talked about. You want to get the nutrients, not the additives. So instead of reaching for that jar of peanut butter or bag of cashew trail mix, try making a small blend of these 3 power nuts. Keep a handful in a jar by your favorite chair. Let them become part of your daily habit, just like brushing your teeth or taking your walk. These small changes can lead to big differences over time. And your joints, memory, and energy levels will thank you. Let's take a closer look at something that affects nearly every senior I work with, whether they realize it or not. Inflammation. Now, inflammation isn't always bad. In fact, it's how your body heals. When you scrape your knee or catch a cold, your immune system sends out inflammation to fix the problem. But as we get older, that process becomes less targeted and more chronic. It's like a fire alarm that doesn't turn off, and instead of helping you heal, it just keeps burning away quietly inside your joints, blood vessels, muscles, and even brain. After age 60, your body becomes more sensitive to inflammatory triggers, including the food you eat. Why? Because your immune system changes. It slows down, becomes less precise, and more reactive. It starts treating minor irritants, like the omega-6s in peanuts or the sugar in cashews, as major threats. This overreaction causes a low-grade ongoing inflammation that may not hurt right away, but it builds over time. The results are familiar. Your knees swell a little more after walking. Your hands feel stiffer in the morning. You feel tired even when you've rested. Your memory feels foggy. These aren't random signs of aging. They're messages from your body, telling you that inflammation is quietly at work. And here's the tricky part. The foods that trigger this response don't always look unhealthy. They might come in heart-healthy labels. They might be vegan, organic, or sold in the health food aisle. But for a senior body, some of these healthy foods are too much to process, especially when they contain mold toxins like aflatoxin from peanuts, blood sugar spiking carbs like in cashews, or excess omega-6 fats. What makes this worse is that recovery from inflammation takes longer as you age. In your 30s or 50s, a bit of swelling or fatigue after a poor meal might go away in a day. But at 65, it might take a week. Or it might not fully resolve unless you change your routine. That's why small daily habits, like which nuts you snack on, become so critical. But here's the good news. Your body can still respond very well to the right support. Seniors who reduce inflammatory foods and increase anti-inflammatory ones often notice dramatic improvements. Their knees stop throbbing. Their energy returns. They feel sharper, sleep better, and even stand taller. It doesn't take a radical diet overhaul, just a few small, smart swaps. So what can you do right now? First, be aware of your nut choices. Swap out peanuts and cashews for walnuts, almonds, and Brazil nuts. Second, try to balance your fats. If you eat a lot of foods cooked in oils, add more omega-3s from things like flaxseed, chia, or a high-quality fish oil supplement. And finally, listen to your body. If a food you eat every day leaves you feeling worse, even a little, that's worth paying attention to. By now, you might be wondering, so what should I actually do each day? You've learned that peanuts and cashews, while popular, can quietly fuel inflammation. You've also learned that certain nuts like walnuts, almonds, and Brazil nuts offer real support for your joints, memory, and energy. But how do you put this knowledge into action without overthinking every snack? The good news is, it's much easier than you think. You don't need a complicated meal plan or expensive superfoods. Just a few small daily habits, built around the right types of nuts, can make a big difference in how you feel. Let's start with quantity. Most seniors don't need a large amount of nuts. In fact, just a small handful, about 1 to 1.5 ounces per day, is enough to deliver powerful benefits without overwhelming your digestion. That's roughly 7 to 10 walnut halves, 12-15 almonds, or 1 to 2 Brazil nuts. You don't need all three every day. You can rotate. One day could be walnuts and almonds. The next day, almonds and a Brazil nut. Simple, satisfying, and effective. When you eat them matters too. I often recommend eating nuts in the afternoon around 2 or 3 p.m. That's when many older adults start to feel that energy dip. Maybe your legs feel heavy, or your mind feels a little cloudy. A handful of anti-inflammatory nuts at this time gives your brain and body just the right fuel to stay steady through the rest of the day. It's also a smart way to avoid grabbing sugary or salty snacks out of habit. Next, pay attention to preparation. Choose raw or dry roasted nuts. Avoid those coated in oil, sugar, or artificial flavorings. Many packaged nuts, especially roasted and salted varieties, are processed with seed oils like soybean or sunflower oil, which can add extra omega-6s and cancel out the anti-inflammatory benefits. If you like flavor, try sprinkling a pinch of cinnamon on almonds or a little turmeric on walnuts. Both have their own inflammation-fighting powers. And here's something I tell all my patients. Store your nuts in the fridge or freezer. Why? Because nuts, especially walnuts, contain delicate fats that can go rancid when left in warm, humid places. When the fats oxidize, they lose their health benefits and may even promote inflammation. Keeping them cool helps preserve their freshness and healing potential. If you want to go a step further, you can build a nut jar for the week. Take a small glass jar and each Sunday add a mix of your weekly nuts. Maybe 3 to 4 days of almonds, 2 to 3 days of walnuts, and 2 Brazil nuts tucked in. That way, you're not thinking about it daily. It becomes automatic. You just reach for the jar each afternoon and know you're giving your body what it needs. And remember, consistency is what counts. You might not feel a dramatic change overnight, but over 2 to 3 weeks, many seniors notice their joints feel smoother, their mornings start easier, and their mind feels clearer. That's the power of giving your body the right tools, day by day, bite by bite. So as you reach for your next snack, ask yourself, is this helping me feel younger, lighter, and more mobile? If not, it's okay. You can make a better choice next time, because it's never too late to start feeling good again.